No, your eyes do not deceive you. Your mind's not playing tricks on you. These are, in fact, two iMac G4s. The one on the left is a 15-inch model with a 4:3 aspect ratio. The one on the right is a 17-inch model with a 16:10, I believe, aspect ratio. I may need to post a correction on screen. The one on the right you might remember from episode 2, where I kind of did like an overview of it, as well as showed it off a little bit of a backstory. This one I picked up at a garage sale, summer of 2019 for like $40. Pretty good price for it. So, and it didn't need much work. I did the work though, unfortunately off camera. It was before I started my channel, so I don't have any of that captured. This one on the left here, I picked up as part of the Mac lot that I got, I think in June or July of 2020. And I said I was going to take a look at it during the G3 refurbished series. Since I can't get all the parts for that one, I said I would try to do this one to finish off March and Tosh right. I don't know if it works. I don't know anything about it. For all I know, it could blow up as soon as I plug it in. We'll see. But I will try to do this one on camera, obviously, as part of this video, so we can try to see what's ticking inside, and as well as go over some of the subtle differences between these two. It's not the obvious one where the screen sizes are different. There's some other things too that I've noticed. But let's get into it right now. So one of the things that I noticed that was different about the 15-inch iMac versus the 17-inch is the acrylic bezel that goes around the screen is actually flush with the white plastic, whereas on the 17-inch, it kind of it's overlaid on top of it. So this entire piece is acrylic on top of the white frame for the screen, whereas again on the 15-inch, the white frame for the screen is here and the acrylic piece just goes around it. Not sure why Apple did that. I'm sure there was some sort of design choice that went into it. The other thing that I noticed is that if you look at the sides here, screws are completely visible here, whereas on here, they're completely hidden. There are some on the bottom, but nothing on the top or the sides. So otherwise, for the most part, the only other difference is going to be the logo itself. This one has a more fancy iMac logo, whereas the 17-inch model has more of a modern, I'm guessing, block style. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with fonts. So, but other than those differences, they're pretty much the same. The bases are identical for the most part and houses all of the computing and everything. So this is what we're going to focus on for today's video. First, I'm going to power this one on, make sure it works. And if it does, maybe we just have to give it a little bit of a cleaning, look at some upgrade options, RAM, storage, etc. If it doesn't work, which I'm kind of hoping for, although something that doesn't require me to order spare parts, we'll take a look and try to figure out what's broken. So this particular Mac did not come with any accessories, no keyboard or mouse, although I do have some that I can use. It did come with a power cord. Unfortunately, kind of looks like it was overstretched, came out of the jacket around here. Now I can probably put some shrink tube around it. It's probably fine otherwise. I'm not going to use it now. I'm going to have to put it through a multimeter and make sure there's no shorts or anything. But I could probably put some shrink tube over it and fix it. So, but I do have the one from the 17-inch that I can use in here without any issues. So that's what I will use to test. All right, the moment of truth. There's that hard drive. Optical drive just ejected on its own. I don't hear a bong. That hard drive does not sound healthy. But it's booting into something. I don't know what's going to be on here, so I may have to start censoring things in case there's any personal information out there. But the other thing I notice is that the backlight is kind of brighter here and here than it is here. It's almost like an hourglass in the middle here, and I think it's showing up on camera a little bit. Let's see if it's my studio lighting. Nope, it's still there. So, ooh, that did not sound good. But we'll give it some time and see if it actually boots into OS 10 or not. While we're waiting for this to boot, let me go over some of the specs that I was able to pull on it. So it's a PowerPC G4 700 megahertz. It came originally with 256 megs of RAM, maximum of 1 gig. Not sure what this one has. The hard drive it came with was a 40 gig. I doubt it's been replaced because these are not super easy to take apart. 10x CDRW combo drive. It's got 10100 Ethernet, 56K modem, optional 802.11b wireless, which I'm kind of hoping it has because make it a lot more convenient to connect to Wi-Fi. And yeah, those are the brunt of the specs. It's PC 133 SDRAM. Came with OS 9.2.2 and 10.1.2. Max Mica support is going to be 10.4.11. Well, it did boot, and I'm going to have to block out some of these names just in case. Hopefully there's no password on them because I don't know what it is. I can reset it, but I'd rather not. Let's try. This is really sluggish. So there's a password on this account here. Let's look at this one. There's also a password here too. I don't think there's any other account I can use. So I may have to boot it off of a CD or a DVD and see if I can get into it or not. So let me grab one of those. Took it quite some time to shut down, so definitely not a good sign. Let's see if I can get it to boot off of a CD or not. This CD drive is struggling too. There we go. Oh, that optical drive really sounds sick. Hopefully we can get somewhere with this, because even though this is a desktop optical drive, I don't know if I have anything available at the moment. I might have one that will work in here. We'll see. It took over 20 minutes just to boot off of a CD. I'm not holding out too much hope. Let's see if I can reset one of these passwords to get in. And we're already going to have to open this up to swap out the hard drive and possibly the optical drive. So I still want to take a look inside and see exactly what it comes with. So, and just in case, take care of one of these other accounts here, and we'll quit and restart. Wouldn't it be funny if the hard drive just died right now? And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened. The hard drive is non-functional anymore. So, or at the very least, something happened with the operating system. So, well, we're going to have to take this apart anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, one thing to remember when you're unplugging one of these is that you cannot pull on this part of the cord. It's probably how the original one got pulled out of its jacket. You need to pull on this piece right here because it's got the most support and it's directly connected to the connector. So just, pro tip. So to open it up, we first have to take off this bottom plate here, which allows end users to upgrade RAM and either install or remove the airport card. I believe these are captive screws, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. So they won't come out all the way. Yep, they're captive screws. All right, let's see what's inside here. Okay, it's not dirty or anything. The inner plate is fine. This little thermal pad is still something. So here's the airport card. Looks like a PCMCI card, as well as the SO-DIMM memory. For whatever reason, Apple went with this design for the RAM. There is built-in memory, but it's not actually built in. It's standard size SD RAM that is in a actual RAM slot. So again, not sure why they went that way, but they did. So let's connect the antenna. And I think we have to remove the RAM first to give enough clearance for the card to slide out. Now it's a double height memory, but it should take standard size SO-DIMM as well. And that's all there is to it. Wonder what kind of chipset it has and if this would actually work on a PC. Maybe I'll find out one day. So that's as far as end users are allowed into the system here. To gain access to the rest of it, you have to take out these Torx screws, and I think they're either T10s or T15s. They are 15s. And I do not believe that these are captive screws. And they are kind of long too. Just to give you an idea. Let me remove the rest of these screws and we'll continue on. All right, so now in theory, all you should have to do is just lift this away from the base and that's it. In practice, it's not that easy. And I'll explain once we get inside if I can get this open or not. Although this one is easier than the 17-inch was, that's for sure. But you have to be careful. Don't twist it. Don't yank it out. Be careful with it because there are some cables. Let me see if I can rearrange the camera here. So you've got the power up here that you have to watch out for, as well as way in here, the IDE cable, which this cable just came completely out. I think, I'm not even sure what cable that would be for. Maybe the display, but it just popped right out because there's almost no tolerance in there. This, I think, might be power for the display, and I think this is the video cable here. So again, you got to be very careful. A lot of dust in here too. That's kind of, well, I mean, it's an old computer, so, but it's definitely dirtier than the G3 was. So what we'll have to do carefully, very carefully pull out the base a little bit so you can disconnect this connector here, as well as the IDE cable and the dreaded Varta battery. I think it's a Varta. No, it's a safety, which I'm pretty sure these are pretty stable. In fact, you can still get replacement ones. I have a few of them on hand for retro computers. I don't remember if you can disconnect this cable or not. I believe the power can be disconnected or separated. But let me see. So there's a look at the main board. It's, again, really dusty. So display cable, there's power here. Typical PC133 SD RAM slot. So again, not sure why they went with this and not soldered on or even just SO-DIMM, but whatever. And right over here, might be tough to see with the dust, and let me see if I can, there. This, I'm pretty sure, is the speaker, and it looks very similar to that of the G3. One of the reasons why it can be difficult to separate these two halves is because this here, the G4 CPU, is connected to this heat pipe. So this part of the heat pipe matches up with this part of the upper shell, which is all metal, and it acts as a heat sink. And depending on the type of thermal paste Apple used, it may act as actual paste, making it very difficult to separate these two pieces. So, and I believe on later model G3s, there is another spot right here where they have something similar. And I think that's why it was more difficult, because there were 2 points of adhesion versus 1. So in terms of RAM, I forgot to show earlier, this is a 512 meg stick of RAM, which means it was upgraded. Maybe they're at the factory or not. And then on board it came with, on board it came at 256. So they might have added this after the fact, although it is labeled as G4 iMac. So, although I don't think it's Apple branded, although the internal one wasn't Apple branded either. So 768 megs of RAM total is what this had, so close to the max. So more than likely the slow performance in both booting off the hard drive and the CD-ROM is probably going to be the hard drive itself, which is going to be another pain in the butt to get to, but we'll have to do it. I'm going to go ahead and finish disassembling the rest of this base to separate it so that I don't rip any cables when I'm working in here. So let me do that and we'll continue. So I vacuumed it out a little bit just to get rid of some of the dust. The antenna cable fortunately just has a pigtail extension attached to it, and this is the display cable. I was able to remove that relatively easily. So the power unfortunately won't come on unless I take out the main board, which I'm just going to leave as is for now. But to take the hard drive out, you have to remove the optical drive because it's on top of it. And to do that, there are 4 Torx screws down here and over here. So we'll go ahead and remove those. I believe those are T10s, but they could be T15s as well. So I also forgot you have to remove these 2 screws as well, which are T9s, it turns out. And then T10s for these here, actually. Yeah, there. And that was a huge pain, but I think I've got it. So very, very dirty, holy crap. And these are just T10s as well. There we go. So it looks like it's just an HL data storage drive. I think, like I said, I think I have an IDE drive laying around somewhere. And then just the hard drive to remove, which I'll do off camera because there's no more room to work here. And we'll continue using the opportunity to remove the fan and clean all of that mess up. So I was able to detach the base without breaking anything, fortunately. Just some separate power cables to ground cable, and gave it a decent cleaning. I'm going to have to probably replace the thermal paste here, as well as apply some fresh paste here before I reassemble it, since, like I said, the chassis acts as the heatsink for this. I think I did a decent enough job cleaning inside of here. I have to get the grill a little bit. There's some little nooks and crannies that are kind of tough to get to with a brush and air can and vacuum. So what retro tech YouTubers don't want you to see. One of the things that I noticed that I didn't notice with the 17-inch model is that there are 2 separate power supplies in here. This one feeds off of AC, and I'm pretty sure that's the inverter board, and then this one here feeds the rest of the system. Speaker, CD, hard drive obviously, and then obviously there's also the main connection to the main board itself. I'm not sure what this cable does. It's actually secured on these posts here, but some of the wires go to the internal speaker here. This is just a fan header, and the rest of this cabling, one goes into here and then somewhere, and I'm not sure where. and I don't really want to disassemble this any further just to find out. So this is definitely the display cable. Pretty interesting. Let me finish cleaning everything up and then see if I can find that IDE CD-ROM drive and figure out an option for the hard drive. So I think I did a decent enough job on this fan. Probably a couple of spots I can touch back up, but should work just fine. And yes, these are the same batteries from the same company. Obviously the older one than the newer one. And I did have one CF to ID adapter left. Well, with this type of connector on it, of course. I don't, however, have any more of these. I pulled this from the G3 since that's on hold for now. So I'm going to install the operating system on here. Got more on order, but they won't be here in time. So the other thing I noticed when I was cleaning is the IDE cable has a very bad kink in it. Pretty sure that was from factory, just based on the crease and everything. So it probably was like this since day one, and it's possible that this failed. It's hard to say. I don't trust this IDE cable, we'll just say that. So I'm going to grab this one that I had laying around. This should be fine. I just have to match the fold, and I think we'll be all right with it. Time to put this mess back together, right? Oh, almost forgot the replacement optical drive. It's just a Sony, but it is IDE. I'm going to have to remove the front faceplate in order for it to work, since the original drive doesn't have it installed either, but it did keep this piece. Hopefully it'll work and it'll fit. The other thing I have to do is remove this RF shielding here and attach it to the replacement drive. Well, unfortunately, that's not going to work either because of the way I have to do the bends. There's no way to connect this end to the back of the optical drive. So let me see if I can actually find another IDE cable, maybe in an old PC or something that I can work out. So I have to use the original IDE cable. I don't have any other replacements. This one almost seems like it was kind of custom made for it. There's no way I can get any twist or bend to get another IDE cable to work. However, I did do a continuity test between all of the different ends, and where that kink is specifically, and all the traces, tone out just fine. So all the wires do. So I think I should be all right. So I'm going to go ahead and continue reassembly. Of course, the question is, will this be long enough to reach the IDE port on the logic board? I guess only time will tell, unfortunately. All right, so now I've got to redo all the cable management here. I think that's it. I don't believe the power cables for the optical drive and the hard drive went that way. Okay, I think I've got it, so hopefully this is long enough. This should be fine. This is static. That should be fine. These should be fine. There's definitely a rat's nest of wiring right in here, especially with the Burb to Molex adapter. Hopefully that doesn't get in the way. I guess we'll find out. So, as challenging as that was, it's going to be equally challenging getting all the cables connected to the logic board in such a way that I can actually close it up properly, and not looking forward to that. So hopefully you guys are. However, before I put everything back together, I really should remove this heat pipe and reapply some thermal paste so that we can try to get this to last as long as possible. So let me do that now. If I remember correctly, this bracket has to come off, and there's just these two clips that clip into the logic board itself, which is kind of odd, but what we will do, grab this metal spudger here, and I remember, trying to remember how I removed it last time without removing the entire logic board. I might have to do that, but I don't think I did last time. Maybe I do. Let me see. So here's the fully removed logic board. It was a pain in the butt. There are 3 screws that are obvious. However, something that wasn't obvious is there was a plastic screw, probably nylon. So there we go. And it's actually probably good that I did this because it's really dirty under here too. So I'm going to give this a quick cleaning, and then we'll proceed with the thermal paste. And for those curious, here is the NVIDIA GeForce MX2 or GeForce 2 MX that powers the display. So in case you've never seen it, there it is. And there are actually thermal pads over here for other components that I'm guessing get a little hot. Let's go ahead and get this heat pipe off and some thermal paste applied. So judging by the way the clips themselves look, which they're here, this one is shaped a little bit differently than this one is. So I'm assuming this one is the one you want to remove, and it'll just unhinge from this side here. So I probably didn't need to take it all apart, but again, it's good that I did for cleaning purposes. But now, let's see. It's going to be difficult to do. I'm trying to do it without scratching anything. There. And to remove it, well, there you go. Let's look at the CPU die itself. Pretty good. Give it a cleaning. We'll give the heat pipe a cleaning and go on from there. And that should be enough. Now let's put everything back together and go from there. All right, thermal paste, where did I put it? Well, that should be enough. And when you reattach the heat pipe here, there is a hole, a guide hole right in the logic board that corresponds with this peg here. And you want to make sure that that gets lined up. There's also another one here that lines up with a hole over here. There. And now reinstalling this clip. So again, when you see this clip here, you've got this little U shape, whereas this is like an L shape. The L shape goes here, the U shape goes there. And you will have to use a little bit of force, which is going to sound a little jarring. But there we go. And then remember, again, put some paste here, because that will be making contact with the rest of the chassis, which corresponds to this spot right there, which I forgot to clean. I'll get that off camera. And I might even put some paste on there too, just to make sure we have enough. Okay, the moment of truth. Am I going to remember how to get this all back together? I mean, obviously I know where all the cables have to go. Got to connect these two power leads here. The wireless antenna goes there. Ground I'll attach later. This is the display cable, which connects right here. Let me see if I can zoom in. And there isn't much reach, so you have to be very careful. It should just clip in, and then there is this little plastic clip that goes over to kind of keep it in place. I believe it goes like this. So there's that. And now, of course, the ever challenging part, and that's making sure these two fit back together again. And then I'm going to try, while holding it together, at least getting one of these screws in to hold it in place, preferably two, and on both sides of that connector. Hopefully nothing got pinched. So I just realized I made a mistake. Did any of you guys catch it? I'll give you a hint. This has to go back inside, which means I have to reopen everything. All right, let me do that. Okay, now provided I didn't pinch any cables, this thing should work. But of course, what I'm going to need to do still is reinstall the airport card and the SODIMM memory module. And I don't remember if this goes upside down or not. It's probably goes this way, just so that you get that nice advertisement, right? Or not. Let's see. Yeah, so it does go in upside down. Of course, Apple missed a marketing opportunity, but that's fine. And last but not least, the bottom plate, which I don't remember what size these were. Plus it's Phillips. All right, that's a wrap in terms of reassembly. I'm going to give it a good cleaning off screen and then cross my fingers. All right, here's the moment of truth. Let's see if anything shorts out. That's a good sign. And it's hard to see, but it's going to attempt to boot off of the G3's CF card. We'll see if it works or not. If I get any errors or anything. That's probably too high. There, that's a little better. Found out that one of my older smartphones, well, my previous one, before I replaced it with a newer one, it was just sitting in a drawer. It's got a pro mode for video. So I've been messing around with that. That's why there's been different changes in lighting and stuff like that. So, and it's attempting to boot a desktop environment. Not sure if it'll actually work though, because again, it was from a G3. But at least it boots. I don't know if the CD drive ejects. I can't use the keyboard key because that one doesn't work for some reason. So I have to wait till Mac OS starts up to try to do it from there. But I don't think it's going to start up because it's not designed for this system. So I'm going to have to reimage it anyway, which I was already expecting on doing. All right, let's see if we can get an operating system on here. So far, so good. I don't know if this disc will work on this Mac or not, but we're going to find out. So I'm not going to bother burning all of the discs that came with the initial recovery set. Just going to put Mac OS X on here and make sure everything's working. And we'll probably revisit this sometime in the future and do some more thorough testing, get a proper image reloaded on here, etc. And we've got the space, why not? And we will let it run, and we will resume once it's done or something interesting happens. Not sure if it's visible, but it says it's going to take 1 hour and 26 minutes to install. So we'll be back in 1 hour and 26 minutes. So I'm not exactly sure how long it went for, but it wasn't 1.5 hours. Probably could have even gone faster had I not installed all the additional languages. Oops. But then again, I've got plenty of space, so it's not that big of a deal. So it says 1 minute left. We'll see if it's actually 1 minute or if it's one of those, a minute that could be 30 seconds or 10 minutes. So it says finishing installation less than 1 minute. It's probably already been about 1 minute. And I know I'm nitpicking a little, but... And I guess that's it. Let's restart. Come on, there we go. Not sure if the volume's just low or, which is fine because I don't know if this song is copyrighted or not. I don't think I've ever seen this intro, but I don't believe I've ever used this version of Mac OS X either, so. And let's do doggo. I don't want a password. Apple. Sure, why not? Ooh, that's right, I replaced the PRAM battery. And there we go. We are running Mac OS 10.2.3. Let's verify some of the specs here. Remember, this version of System Profiler, it's very similar to the one from Mac OS 9 and radically different from current versions of Mac OS. So yeah, so 700 megahertz, bus speed 100 megahertz, whatever. 768 megs of RAM, built-in Ethernet, Wi-Fi. Wonder if I can connect to my network. I'll have to find out. Let's quit. Let's eject the disk. Yeah, I think that's going to get stuck because the optical drive still has that front, not the whole bezel, but the part that goes over the tray. So I'll have to mess around with that, but we'll worry about that later. Ooh, that doesn't look good. It's not overheating. Anyone see that before? Or if it is overheating, I'm not feeling anything come up through the fan. The fan is blowing. Ooh, look at that. That does not look good at all. Well, shucks. Kind of a cool pattern, though. So I'm not sure how much I've captured, but surprise, it's performing its own glitch art. Not exactly sure what could be causing this, although I'm suspecting it's the GeForce MX chip. The system is not overheating. There is definitely airflow coming through here. Could it be a pinched cable? It's hard to say. If it is, let's give it one more shot. Yep, just more glitch art. Well, I didn't say it was going to be a successful restore. I'll probably have to wrap up the video, though there's no way I'm going to have enough time to troubleshoot the video and get it out in time for the end of Marcintosh. So just enjoy this wonderful little glitch art pattern while I close out this video. So, should you collect the G4 iMacs? Well, they are gorgeous looking machines, that's for sure. But they are a huge pain in the ass to disassemble, and even more so to reassemble. And then, of course, I don't know if this is a known issue with the 15-inch models, but as you can see, you can put a lot of work and effort into it, and then this happens. And sure, there's going to be some troubleshooting needed. I'm going to have to see if it's the display itself, see if it's the logic board, pinched cable, maybe just bad RAM. Not really sure. I'll have to, like I said, put on my detective hat. But that's it for this video. I may revisit this in the future, especially if I do manage to fix it. Otherwise, what did you think of this video? I know it didn't end on a good note, but hopefully you guys learned something or at least got some entertainment out of it. But if you did like this video, hit the thumbs up. And as usual, if you haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to do so, but there's never an obligation. I do appreciate it, though. And if you didn't like the video, hit the thumbs down. But if you're going to do that, please leave a comment below so I can use that to try and help improve my videos and everything else going forward. Otherwise, thanks all, and I will catch you later. So one of the things that I noticed about the 15-inch GMAC... Oh, happy Marcintosh.